I feel like I was a witness. I feel like something really special generationally happened in one of the great football games in the history of the game.
You just gotta believe.
That's it.
That's it. Just gotta believe.
You just gotta believe. Because, I mean, you know that you weren't gonna win. I mean, there was one point. It was a blowout. I mean, it was 28-3 at one point.
Super Bowl 51 actually didn't get off to too hot of a start. The Patriots would 3-and-out just right off the bat and would have to punt the ball straight to the Falcons. However, Atlanta would bounce back and actually get off to a pretty hot start. This was their first play from scrimmage, and they're going to try to see what they can do against this Patriots defense, especially in the running game. They're going to have a receiver go out to block a linebacker, and then the other receiver on the bottom half of the screen will just block the defensive back who's lined up with him. And it also helps that the eligible receiver on the bottom half of the screen is actually a fullback, so that makes things easier for him to block. Because then, all Atlanta has to do is they're going to send their left tackle out to block that New England player, and potentially they can gain 5 yards or so until a safety or another linebacker runs over and gets into the play, and as you see right when this ball is snapped, it is going to work out. Freeman gets past that first level and is now at the second level, and, okay, at this point there are 2 New England players who could potentially make this tackles, but at least you gain some yards, and now the New England Patriots have to respect your running game. However, something very unusual is going to happen right here. These 2 New England players are not really going to play this one perfectly. Watch how Freeman just runs right in between them, and instead of just gaining 5 to 7 yards, he ends up gaining 27 yards. That's a huge play right off the bat. They only gained 5 yards combined on the next 2 plays, but now they have a crucial 3rd down and 5 right at the 50 where they can definitely convert and potentially get some points on the board right off the bat, which would be huge given that the Patriots got the ball first. But that's where Trey Flowers comes in. Trey Flowers right there on the left side of the screen, he's going to have a crucial play on this one. Take a look at what happens right when there's contact made. Notice how Jake Matthews has his left arm basically inside the shoulder pad right there. He's grabbing on. It could technically be considered a hold, but they rarely will call this unless it becomes obvious that that's why Jake Matthews is able to really make this block. So for Flowers, he could try to just let it be obvious that he's getting held, try to show the referees that that's what's going on, but he has another idea. Watch how he just fights through it, rips Jake Matthews' hand out of his shoulder pad, and then gets to Matt Ryan for what was a sack. The ball did come out, but Matt Ryan was down, so it wasn't a fumble. However, still a crucial sack to end a drive and give the Patriots the ball back. In your big games, you need your big name players to make big plays, and that's what happened on the first defensive drive. Trey Flowers was able to make a big play and stop the Falcons in their tracks. Once New England got the ball back, they actually weren't really struggling to move the ball that much. While they were struggling to score, moving the ball wasn't really a problem for them. Really what's going to be key this entire game is going to be how the Patriots are able to get one-on-one matchups, and the receivers can then thrive off those one-on-one matchups. As long as they're getting one-on-one matchups, New England trusts their receivers against the Atlanta Falcons defensive backs. So like on this play, there already is going to be a one-on-one matchup, but what the Patriots are going to do is they're going to fake play action and then have the receiver run a curl route like that, which hopefully will then, the play action will get guys to move in and really make it just a straight up one-on-one matchup. It's Jalen Collins going up against Chris Hogan. It's a matchup that New England trusts, and you'll see why. After Brady fakes the play action and Hogan is now getting ready to cut, if you notice the Falcon linebacker, he definitely was expecting a run and is not in a position where he could potentially knock a ball away. This is just straight up one-on-one at this point. And for Brady, he just trusts his guy. He hits it right when Hogan cuts, Hogan makes the catch, and they get the first down. So as long as they can get the one-on-one matchups deep downfield, they feel confident that they can have some success. So just like the last drive when New England needed a play and Trey Flowers gave them a play, now the opposite has happened. Now Atlanta needs a play to keep the game scoreless, and luckily for them, they're going to get that opportunity. It's going to be a play action, and what they're going to do to actually try to help sell that play action is by leaving that Atlanta player right there completely unblocked. Part of the reason why he's the guy they're picking on is because that's Courtney Upshaw. Not a terrible player, but this is his first year playing for Atlanta, and never in his career has he gotten over 2 sacks in a season, so he's always been more of a role player than a star. And they also won't leave him completely unblocked for the full play. He will start off getting unblocked, but then the right guard will pull around like that and end up blocking him. And by the way, that guard is Shaq Mason, who is a pretty good player. I mean, he's been for the Patriots for quite some time now and has played pretty well. So in this matchup, New England definitely likes their odds. So one Upshaw runs over to try to get the Mason. At this point, New England trusts their self right here, and they trust that their player can make a play, and Brady isn't going to be too concerned. He feels like Shaq Mason can definitely make this block. However, sometimes in these big games, it's not just about the star player stepping up, it's about the role player stepping up. Upshaw just runs over Mason, gets to Brady, and then they're able to stall that drive with a sack. Just like the drive before it, a player makes a big play and is able to get their team off the field. Once Atlanta got the ball back, they pretty much did the same thing they did last drive. They get a couple first downs, but then a sack ends that drive as well, and so they would have to punt the ball back to New England. New England, having no trouble moving the ball, but just needs to be a little bit more consistent, would once again be able to make a good play. Right here, it's going to actually be Julian Edelman you're going to want to take a look at, as he's going to start off running that route right there, which is a pretty typical route that he does like to run. It's almost like a Julian Edelman special. I mean, the Patriots have Julian Edelman run this route all the time. However, this is not where the route ends. I mean, he could get the ball at that point, but if the play keeps going, then he's supposed to do that and turn up field, and this play is going to keep going. As you see, it's only a 3-man rush, so Brady is going to have plenty of time to make a throw. And so at this point, it looks as though Edelman could get open. It looks like there's an angle where Brady could make this throw, so for Edelman's assigned defensive back, who's in charge of covering him here, he's a little bit worried. That's Robert Alford, and he has to make sure that he cuts this ball off and is able to make a play. But as he runs forward, Edelman runs deep, is able to get open, and they're able to get a huge chunk play. Once again, the Patriots receivers coming through, and now they're in field goal range and have a chance to go up into Superbowl early on in the second quarter. And so playing it smart here, they're not going to do anything too crazy, they're just going to have a pretty standard running play here. That's the blocking concept, relatively simple, where you will have both your guards ending up blocking those two linebackers, although the left guard, Mason, will have a double team and then he'll move up to block a linebacker, but that's the way this play is supposed to work, and it's going to work out. Blunt's able to take the ball and get to that second level, and at this point, okay, you gained a few yards. Nothing crazy, most runs aren't. You at least got the ball closer, to the point where you can make an easier field goal and make an easier second down situation. But Blunt is the type of guy where he doesn't like to give up. He wants to make sure that he just puts his head down, runs forward, and gains as many yards as possible, which is admirable. However, this time it's going to backfire in a big way. Watch how the ball gets yanked out, and once again, it's a mistake by the Patriots that's giving Atlanta the ball back when they had a chance to score points. This time for Atlanta, it's their star players making star plays. Dion Jones forced the fumble, and Robert Alford recovered. So a big turnover, and now Atlanta has the ball back, and this time they would finally get their groove going. The one guy that has to be mentioned in this game is the guy who's going to be in motion to the top half of the screen. As you notice, he's going to the top half of the screen and a Patriot will follow him, and that lets them know that this is man coverage, which is key since the man who's running to the top half of the screen is Julio Jones, one of the best in the game, if not the best in the game. And not just that, but he's currently on a hot streak as well, coming off of a huge game against the Green Bay Packers where he just dominated. And so since he's running an out route deep down the field, which does have a cut in it, and it's a route that Matt Ryan likes, I mean, Ryan's decision has pretty much already been made up. Get the ball to Julio Jones. And right when this play begins, what you will see is that Julio Jones is going to very quickly get adjacent with his assigned man. Also worth noting, there's only a single safety deep, but look at how close he is to the top half of the screen. Look at how far over he's cheating to try to make sure that he cuts anything off in Julio Jones' way. They do not want to let Julio beat him here. However, just because you don't want him to beat you doesn't mean he's not going to beat you. Watch how Ryan makes a perfect throw, Julio's able to make an unbelievable catch, and they get the ball in field goal range just like that. After getting closer to the end zone, then this play would happen, where that's the blocking concept for Atlanta, so those three Patriots are going to be blocked, and also there is another guy in the area, but he's moving to the left side of the screen, so you don't really have to worry about him too much. Really, the only Patriot you have to worry about is that defensive back right there. I mean, if you take a look, right when the ball is snapped, I mean, Freeman's trying to get through that gap, but there definitely is a New England player who can run over and make this tackle. So for Freeman, what a lot of guys would do is just run forward, put your head down, try to run him over and get into the end zone for a touchdown, which would not be a terrible idea whatsoever. But he looks over to the top half of the screen and realizes that neither of those two players are really setting the edge too much. I mean, they're creating contacts that they'd have to get off the contact, and Freeman trusts his own explosiveness that he can get around them before they'll get rid of the contact. That's what he trusts, and so he's going to go for that instead. He does get to the edge, is able to outrun everybody, and basically just walk in for the end zone, but he decides to dive in instead, And just like that, it's 7-0 Falcons. It took until the second quarter, but Atlanta does finally have a touchdown lead. However, for the Patriots, you're not really too worried. I mean, you've been driving the ball, you did have the 1-3 and out earlier, but other than that, you've been having success, so just get your game going, try to get things back on track.
To me, the game declared at the end of the first quarter. It was a man-to-man game with free safety, and it was an outside run game. And, you know, we didn't do a great job at either one of them, but it declared early, and then we just played it from there.
There's going to be a big test right at the start of this drive where it's a 3rd down and 7, so they really need a conversion here. One thing you'll notice is that if you see over there, Edelman's up to the top half of the screen, and since a defensive back follows him, it lets Brady know that this is going to be man coverage, which is pretty key. That's the actual coverage Atlanta will be running, which is pretty similar to a cover 1 hole, except they're going to have an extra man drop back, so it's only going to be a 3-man rush, but for New England, they're going to have James White run that route right there, which is just a situation they love. They're a great pass-catching halfback that's going to be running outside of the backfield. He's going to run that route right there. They feel that he can gain the yards necessary to get a first down here. So Brady, he's going to take a step back, makes that throw, but watch this tackle by CJ Goodwin. Just a great tackle to stop White short of the first down, and they are not able to convert, and they have to punt the ball right back to the Falcons. It was a really tough play by New England because they felt like they had something there, but it was a great play by Atlanta. Now they get the ball back with their offense already rolling, and it would continue rolling. They would end up with 3 plays of 18+ yards on this drive, the last of which was this one, where it's going to be a cover 2 man here, and take a look what's going to happen right when this ball is snapped. Mostly look at Julio Jones here. So first he's getting double teamed right here. They want to make sure they don't get beat by Julio Jones. And in fact, you could argue this is a triple team, because if you look at the other safety who's deep, he's definitely keeping an eye on Julio as well. They are not going to let Julio Jones beat them on this play. So for Ryan, he says, you know what? Fine, I have plenty of weapons. I see Austin Hooper up there, one-on-one matchup in the end zone. Let's take that shot instead. That's what he does. Hooper is able to make the catch, and they get a touchdown, and just like that, it is now a 2-score game as they make the extra point and go up to 14-0. New England already in danger, as the biggest comeback to ever happen in Super Bowl history is just 10 points. It's not a great situation, but it's also far from a disaster. I mean, you have over 8 minutes left in the second quarter, just down 2 scores. You have a great offense. You have Tom Brady, who's a pretty good player. You're not too worried. They just have to avoid making mistakes, and they have to avoid their opposing team making great plays in the Falcons, and they would do that. They get the ball in the Falcons territory, they would have this great play where it was a cover 2 man, and Martellus Bennett is just going to run right over there as it's going to be play action, and they execute this one perfectly. Brady fakes the handoff, is then able to get the ball to Bennett. Bennett runs after the catch well, and just like that, they're in field goal range. So already you have a chance to finally get some points on the board. Yes, you're still down, but far from a mess. So New England's now down, but they're still driving. However, things are about to go from bad to worse. If you notice on the bottom half of the screen, Edelman's going to go in motion a little bit closer to the middle of the field, and Alfred is going to follow him, giving the idea that this is going to be man coverage, and it is man coverage. So typically, if this is man coverage, what would you expect? I mean, I think the obvious thing to expect is that it would be just those 3 guys going up against the 3 men they're lined up against. You know, the Falcon closest to the bottom half of the screen covers the Patriot closest to the bottom half of the screen, the second closest covers the second closest, and so on and so forth. And if that is the case, that would be great news for the Patriots, because first you're just going to have Edelman run a route to the middle of the field, but then they have a great way to try to beat man coverage. Then they'll basically have a tight end run in the way of a defensive player who's in charge of covering their receiver in the slot, because then their slot receiver can just run a quick slant route and potentially get open. And so after the ball is snapped, Brady sees that this play is going to work. In fairness, he could just hit Edelman right there, but he knows he doesn't have to hit Edelman. He has another guy who's going to get open. However, Atlanta is prepared for plays like this. If you notice, there's a safety dropping down as he's getting ready to cover Edelman. And you might think, okay, he's just doing a smart thing here, being aware of what's going on. But that is not exactly what he's doing. This is a switch, and it's a switch that they didn't even need communication for. This is the switch that they prepared for. If they saw that this play was going to happen, then Atlanta was going to have a safety and Robert Alford switch assignments. Because now, well, that receiver is going to get open. If you look at Alford, he's no longer in charge of covering Edelman because there's a safety covering him, so he's free to do whatever he wants. Brady feels as though he should have a player open because he should, but because of this switch, Brady's going to get fooled. Alford picks it off and has a back-breaking pick 6 that put the Falcons up 21-0. just a smart play and really just smart preparation by Dan Quinn and that defense as a whole. Robert Alford took advantage and was able to get the interception because Brady just wasn't aware. Once again, it was a mistake, and this time also a great play put together. So while New England keeps striving, they just can't seem to break through, and now they're down 21-0, even though they've actually played pretty well so far, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Now, in fairness, the half would not end in a disaster. The one silver lining in throwing a back-breaking pick six is the fact that you do at least get the ball back, and the Patriots were able to do something with it. They were able to have a drive, largely set up by this play, where it was a cover two man, and James White out of the backfield is going to run that route right there, very similar to the play earlier that didn't work. However, this time they're going to have a lot more success. Largely because of Brady's great pocket presence to gain himself some more time. He makes a very good throw, and then White's able to make a move and get all the way into field goal range just like that. And this time, there would be no major mistakes. They weren't able to get the ball into the end zone, but they at least got 3 on the board, and at least feels a little bit better into the half, as it is now a 21-3 game. Definitely not the start that you were hoping for, but for New England, there still is some signs of hope. I mean, they're not playing necessarily terrible, they just keep making mistakes and keep allowing themselves to get beat by great plays on the Falcons side.
There's the highs and the lows, and being in there at halftime, we weren't feeling great about, how we had played, but we still really didn't feel out of the game. And then, got off to a slow start in the third quarter, then finally got, started executing a lot better, certainly on offense.
New England needed a stop right off the bat, and they would get it. An immediate 3 and out, and they would get the ball back immediately after the second half, and having an opportunity to get some points on the board and really try to get some momentum. And with the ball near midfield on a 3rd down and 12, this would prove to be a crucial play. It's going to be man coverage, and to have Edelman running that route right there, which is actually great against man coverage. But it's going to be tough, I mean, the cut is well before the first down marker, so Edelman is going to have to make a catch and then try to pick up some yards after the catch. So far from an easy play, but it is a play that can work. I mean, as you see, just a couple of steps in, Edelman has some separation, and if Brady can hit him in a perfect spot, and Edelman can make the catch on the run and then gain some yards, they could potentially get this first down, or at least get in a situation where you could consider going for it on 4th down. But again, New England just beats themselves. Julian Edelman just drops the ball, and now the Falcons are going to get the ball back once again, as obviously you cannot go for it on a 4th down and 12. And for Atlanta, it would be another big play happening on the offensive side of the ball, this time by Tevin Coleman, who is maybe one of the best number 3 receivers to ever be a number 3 receiver. He has a 1-on-1 matchup right there, and what he's going to do is fake as though he's going to run an out route, but actually just run a go route. That's what he's doing right here, which is very effective given his game-breaking speed. And also, watch how well it works out. I mean, he's going to make his man fall down just by his great move. He makes a catch, takes a huge hit, but doesn't care because he gets all the way inside the 30. And unlike New England, Atlanta would not fail to capitalize. On this play, now what they're going to do is, since it's man coverage, they're going to have a halfback run out to the top half of the screen. And also what they're going to do is they're going to have their fullback on the top half of the screen block a linebacker in that area. Because in this situation, typically what you do is that if you have a linebacker on each side of the field, you kind of just say, wherever the halfback goes, then that linebacker on that side of the field makes sure he's covering the halfback. And since Coleman is running up to the top half of the screen, it will be that linebacker who's in charge of covering Coleman. But since the contact happens right at the line of scrimmage, this is now going to allow Coleman to easily get into the end zone for a touchdown. And just like that, it is an insurmountable lead that can absolutely not be come back from, 28-3. New England was in trouble. This is kind of similar to like a basketball game you'll see when a team is playing well but just the shots aren't falling, where you're feeling okay, but then you look at the score and you realize you're down 20 points, and even though you feel like you played okay, it's just going to be tough to come back from. Except 25 points in basketball is a lot easier to come back from than 25 points in football, especially just with the clock being a factor as it is. There's 23 minutes left, meaning that the Patriots are going to have to score more than a point per minute while also not allowing the Falcons to score, which is going to be no easy feat since so far it's been the exact opposite. Atlanta has been able to score at will, and their offense can't get out of their own way, so they're going to have to start executing. But that's going to be exactly what they did, largely just by taking advantage of their receivers. They feel confident in their receiving corps, so they're going to take advantage of that situation. Like on this play, it's a cover 1 hole, and it'll actually be James White who's running a slant route right over there to the middle of the field. And really, James White was a huge X factor in this game for a reason that you will see right when this ball is snapped. He runs routes like a receiver, but also can take the handoff, which means that You have to either put a linebacker out there to make sure that you're covering him, or you have to play the game with an extra defensive back out there at all times. It's just a tough situation for Atlanta. And it wasn't just them using halfbacks as receivers. It's sometimes using everybody as anything, and that can result in Tom Brady having to run with the football. Like on this play, it's going to be a cover one robber, and in man coverage, absolutely you can potentially run on it. Especially because if you notice, Julian Edelman's running to the bottom half of the screen, and those two Atlanta players are going to switch right here. So the Falcon who was in charge of covering the middle of the field is now going to make sure that he's covering Edelman, and this now means that the Atlanta Falcon on the top half of the screen is going to kind of hang out right over there. And since no New England player's route is going to be in the middle of the field, this now means that the middle of the field is going to be open, and Tom Brady knows it. He's not exactly known for his wheels, but you know what? He ran pretty quickly there and was able to pick up a 15-yard gain and get the ball to the 20-yard line. Later on in the drive, they were able to have this play, where what they're going to do is have two routes on the top half of the screen right over there to try to push Falcons deep if this is going to be man coverage, because they're going to have their halfback run that route underneath them. Not a terrible idea, however, Jalen Collins reads this one pretty well and is going to get himself in position to potentially make this tackle. So, at least you're going to get close to the end zone here, but it was well played by Collins. However, this time, it's time for a New England Patriot to make a great move. Watch how White is able to make a move and get into the end zone for a touchdown. It's a big play and a big moment. They now make it a 9-28 game, and it would stay 9-28 as then Stephen Gostkowski would actually miss the extra point. So that kind of became a when it rains it pours moment, but at the same time, for New England, you're thinking, you know what, we have a shot. 3 scores is a lot to come back from, but we're still about 2 minutes left in the third quarter, meaning that you will probably have 3 more drives. It's all about stopping the Falcons and then taking advantage and scoring points. That's what the Patriots have to do here. However, that first part is tough. I mean, stopping the Falcons, they haven't been able to do that all game really. So for Bill Belichick, he's going to see if he doesn't even have to try it. He's going to go for an onside kick instead. Definitely a controversial decision. You can argue whether it should or shouldn't be the right call, and they are going to do something a little bit unique here where they're going to have their kicker actually go out the block, but it's just not going to work out. They actually touched the ball illegally before it went past 10 yards, and Elena is going to be able to recover anyways, so huge problem there. Honestly, probably a mistake in hindsight. I mean, going for the onside kick, I get that your defense hasn't really been doing much, but now Atlanta has great field position, and a field goal makes it now a 22-point game, which, again, not backbreaking compared to 19. I mean, that difference isn't really too much, but it is something you would like to avoid. But for Atlanta, on a 3rd down and 11, they're not thinking field goal here. They want a touchdown to make this once again a 4-score lead and really just put the dagger into the hearts of Tom Brady and the rest of the Patriots. So like on this play, it's going to be a cover 1 blitz, meaning that Ryan, he's going to have to get the ball out pretty quickly. But of course, he doesn't know that at the time because he doesn't know what play call exactly the Patriots will be calling here. So the route that he wants to throw to is that route right there, which can potentially get the first down. Although also worth mentioning, he has a shorter route underneath that probably won't get the first down, but can at least gain some yards and create an easier field goal situation. If he can get to the 35-yard line perhaps from that, well, then you at least have a 52-yard field goal with a great kicker in Matt Bryant, so that is something you could look to throw to. And if you notice, right off the bat, I mean, clearly that shorter route is going to get open. He could make that throw, and maybe it'll be a first down, probably not. It would take a broken tackle, but at least you could kick the field goal. But then there's also that route over there that could potentially get the first down, but you just have to wait a little bit longer for it to develop. Keep in mind the first down marker is right there, so that's where Ryan's decision making comes in. He has to make a quick decision. He does look around in the pocket and realize that it doesn't appear as though there's immediate pressure, so he's going to decide to wait and see if he can get the first down here. It's a bit of an aggressive decision, and it is not going to work out as the pocket collapses in a hurry and Ryan ends up getting sacked, completely taking out any thought of a field goal, and they end up having to punt it back to Tom Brady. And now for New England, there is definitely hope. They would start driving, once again killing man coverage. On this play, it's once again man coverage, and Martellus Bennett's route is actually going to be the key one as he's running that route right there. It's a matchup that Brady likes. And for good reason, Brady is able to hit him, he's able to get the ball inside the 10-yard line, and to create a first down and goal situation. So they feel like they're in good shape. However, with 10:25 left, down 19, you're really thinking touchdown here. I mean, there's a good chance that the Falcons end up at least scoring another field goal in this game, and so you would like to get a touchdown to make it a 13-point game. And even forgetting about that for a second, if you only get a field goal here, that makes it a 16-point game, meaning you need 2 touchdowns and 2 extra point conversions, which is just so tough to pull off. So on a 3rd down and 10, Brady wants to try to get a touchdown here. However, Grady Jarrett going up against Shaq Mason is going to have something else to say about it. Watch this just insane swim move, how he gets over Mason so quickly and gets to Brady for just another back-breaking play by this Atlanta Falcons defense, and another frustrating play for the Patriots offense, who do feel like when they're playing at their best football, nobody can stop them. However, they're playing far from their best football. I mean, sacks are going to happen. You're going to get beat from time to time, but you want to at least push them to some degree and slow them down to some degree, but they couldn't even do that, and Brady, I don't care if there was someone wide open, he didn't have the time to get it there. At this point, it's now a 4th down and goal at the 15-yard line, and there's no decision to be made. You can't go for it here. You have to kick the field goal, even though you want a touchdown. You have to make it a 2-score game, and that's what they would do. So for Atlanta, the ball is totally in their court at this point. They would gain 9 yards on their next 2 plays to create a 3rd down and 1 situation with 8 minutes and 31 seconds left. They're going to actually have a shotgun pass as they're expecting some pressure right here, and Devonta Freeman, he's in charge of taking away any potential pressure. He does have a route, but he also has to make sure he picks somebody up if this is in fact a blitz. So really the key thing he would do is just chip that Patriot right there and then run his route. That's what he has in his head. However, for New England, they're going to do something a little bit different here. What they're going to do is they're actually going to have a twist going on right there. So basically, the interior lineman's going to run over towards a tackle, and then hopefully Rob Ninkovich, their defensive end, can run around like that and potentially have an easier time getting straight to Matt Ryan. But that's not all they're doing to try to create some pressure to Matt Ryan. They're also going to have Dante Hightower right over there rush Matt Ryan as well. So this twist is actually going to have some unintended, really positive consequences. I mean, if you look at Freeman, he looks up and is looking at the line, making sure that nobody else is rushing free, and since nobody is, he says, okay, hey, there's a twist going on. Everyone is apparently ready for it, so I don't have to pick anybody up. Not realizing the person he does have to pick up is on the complete opposite side. Hightower ends up getting completely free, hits the ball out, and it results in a fumble. I mean, that is a big-time play and a big-time moment, and give credit to Hightower for getting there in a hurry and knocking the ball loose. It's tough to blame Ryan on that one, and it's tough to blame the play call either. Really, I mean, it was just kind of an unfortunate situation. Even with Freeman, I have a hard time blaming him. I mean, I understand why he made that mistake, but regardless, it ends up being a huge mistake and a huge moment. And now the Patriots have the ball back, already in Atlanta territory, only down 2 scores. Giving the New England Patriots a short field when Tom Brady is heating up and their offense is rolling is pretty much always a bad idea, and this time was no exception. They were able to easily convert. What they're going to do on this play is have Malcolm Mitchell just simply run deep, and then they'll have Amendola run underneath him, because Amendola's route will be great against man coverage, but also if it's zone coverage, since Mitchell is running deep, it can push an Atlanta Falcon deep along with him and allow Amendola to get open. So either way, this is a great route to run in this situation. And because as you see, Mitchell runs his route deep enough that the Falcon over there has no chance of potentially getting into this play, and for Amendola, he definitely has some separation right here. Brady's able to hit him, Amendola gets into the end zone for a touchdown, they're able to score, and they go for 2 and make it. So now, after all of that, it is a 1-score game. I'm sure there were Atlanta fans who had already popped the champagne, but at this point, it's time to open up any bottle of alcohol you still have in the house, because this is a nerve-wracking situation for a Patriots fan or a Falcons fan. Just under 6 minutes left, it's 28-20. Falcons have the lead, but not by a lot. There is still time left for the Patriots to make this thing work. But for Atlanta, you know what? They're not ready to go down without a fight. They were prepared for an onside kick, and so since the Patriots actually kicked it deep, they were able to pin the Falcons at around the 10-yard line, which really worked out well for New England. But even despite that, Atlanta is ready to gain some yards here, and they have the perfect play to do it. It's going to be man coverage, and they're simply going to send Freeman out to the top half of the screen. It's something similar to what the Patriots have been doing all night long. Just get your halfback in a situation where it's him one-on-one against a linebacker. And the way Freeman's been playing, you know, despite his blocking, he's been playing great when he has the ball in his hands. So get him the ball in open space. It's usually a good idea. However, sometimes in football, you just win the lottery. And that's what's going to happen here, as that New England player is in charge of covering Freeman. But watch what's going to happen to him here. He ends up running into a Falcons receiver. Not a pick play. He ran into that Falcons receiver by himself, and now Freeman was able to take the ball all the way past the 40-yard line, and they're really able to get this drive going. It was a play they really needed, and now with 5 minutes to go, they have a great chance to try to just get a field goal, make it a 2-possession game, and really force the Patriots to be in major trouble. But that would not be the best play of this drive. There would be one play that is one of the best plays in NFL history that would happen on this one.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, the catch that Julio made on the sideline was unbelievable. And I had the flag out of my pocket, and then I saw the replay on it, and it wasn't even close. I mean, he got both feet down 5 foot.
So Julio Jones is right there, and he has been getting double covered pretty much all second half and most of the first half, honestly. I mean, there was very few situations where there weren't at least 2 Patriots keeping an eye on him because he is just such a factor. And this time was no exception. Those 2 New England players are going to be in charge of covering Julio in this situation, but that's actually okay because Jones' route is an out route deep down the field, which can be okay against this type of coverage just simply because one safety has to stay in the middle of the field, so even though it is double coverage, that can kind of turn it into a one-on-one matchup if not played properly. But the problem is, the person who's in charge of covering Julio straight up can play a little bit further to the bottom half of the screen to make sure that Julio doesn't cut towards the sidelines. So it is a very tough situation. It's a little bit easier since it's an out route, but it is hard to beat double coverage. However, first things first, watch Jones' route on this one. Watch how when he starts moving to the middle of the field to fake as though that's what he's doing, both New England players are totally buying this. So now when he does cut to the outside, there might be a window where potentially this throw can be made, but if you look at Ryan, there's pressure coming right now, so he's going to have to make this throw on the run. A small window is going to form, Ryan's going to make a great throw on the run, and Julio Jones makes maybe the greatest catch I have ever seen. In that situation, to get the ball inside field goal range with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones coming through and making what could be the biggest play in Falcons history. I'll play it a couple of times just so you can truly grasp this greatness. I mean, that was such a small window to make, especially on the run, but it was a tremendous throw by Ryan, and also Julio found a way to make that catch. I mean, that's a Super Bowl potentially winning catch right there, because now all I have to do is run the ball 3 times, kick a field goal, they'll go up 11, and that's going to be really tough for the Patriots. Now granted, it wouldn't be over for New England if they do that. There's 4 minutes and 40 seconds left. So if New England just takes all 3 of their timeouts each time the Falcons run the ball, well, then they have no timeouts left, but they would have about 4 minutes and 30 seconds left. So if they could score a touchdown quickly, maybe they would still have a chance, but they're looking at a rough shape and would most likely need an onside kick to try to win it. And as we've seen before, them trying to get an onside kick didn't go so well. But after a rush loses 1 yard, it's kind of time to say, do we really want to just play conservative here? So maybe we should try to be aggressive. That's what's going on in the mind of Kyle Shanahan, the young play caller for Atlanta. He's going to decide, you know what, let's throw a passing play. I mean, I trust that if Matt Ryan is in trouble, he can just get the ball off quickly. So let's just do that. But for Matt Ryan, know to get the ball off quickly. It shouldn't be anything too crazy. And so for New England, it's time to pull out all the stops, you know. Try to see if you can get a sack here. Try to see if you can push him back and get him out of field goal range. That's their mindset, and here's how they're going to do it. They're going to have Trey Flowers go in between the center and the right guard right here to hopefully get the guard to move up in that direction. And then they're also going to have Sheared on the edge right there, fake as though he's rushing the passer, which will hopefully get the tackle to move over and try to block him, but then he's going to drop back into coverage as well. And so if those 2 things work out perfectly, Alan Branch can run over and get in between them and potentially get a straight shot to Matt Ryan to try to sack him before Ryan realizes that he's in trouble. That's the way this play is hopefully supposed to work. However, Atlanta plays this one well. Both their right guard and right tackle are going to move over to make sure that they're blocking Branch. However, if you notice what I said both their right guard and tackle move over to block Branch. Meaning that for Flowers, he pretty much has a one-on-one matchup. There is another guard in the area, but he can't really get to Flowers. Flowers basically just has a one-on-one matchup against the center, but the problem is he wasn't expecting himself to have to rush the passer on this one. He was just trying to disrupt things, but now all of a sudden, he has to go and try to make a play. But much like earlier when he was getting held but still found a way to get a sack, this time he was not expecting to try to be the guy who has to make a sack, but he fights through it anyways and gets a huge sack to put the Falcons in a situation where they're not exactly in an easy field goal situation here. It went from a chip shot to a pretty long shot, actually. I mean, the ball's at the 35-yard line. That's a 52-yard field goal. Still something that Bryant could potentially make. Again, a very good field goal kicker, but now it's going to be a lot tougher. But no worries. I mean, Ryan just takes a snap, hits Sinew. They're able to gain some yards, get back in field goal range. So no harm, no foul. A little bit worrisome, but wait, there's a flag down. If you notice, right there on Jake Matthews, they're going to call that holding. This time, a little bit kind of a weak call, you could argue, but the reality is, A defensive end went down, and oftentimes they call those, so could have been called either way. Unfortunately for the Falcons this time, they did not get the call, but at the same time, they put themselves in this situation by losing yards on that last play with the sack. In 2 plays, they lost 22 yards and went from New England's 23 to New England's 45. From a 40-yard field goal, which is a chip shot for a great kicker like Matt Bryant, to out of field goal range altogether. However, it's a 3rd down and 33, which is obviously tough to convert, but you can still gain 10 yards or so and still get in a situation where you can potentially still kick a field goal. And on paper, this play actually is not really that terrible. I mean, it's going to be man coverage, it's a cover 1 hole, and they have Taylor Gabriel running an out route right over there, which absolutely can go for 10 or 15 yards and at least get you back in field goal range. Again, a field goal doesn't win it, but it makes things a lot easier. Now the man of the hour is going to be somebody who knows a thing or two about coming up big in a Super Bowl moment. It's going to be Malcolm Butler, who's going up against Gabriel. Just watch the coverage he puts on Gabriel right here. Ryan has no window to make that throw. Malcolm Butler completely covers him up and doesn't even celebrate after he does it. Just calmly walks off the field as if he just is someone getting back from work. He just did his job and walks off. I mean, you gotta love that. For New England, they came through when they had to. Their big players made big plays. And for Atlanta, a huge opportunity squandered. It can be debated to death and has been debated to death, but the reality is it resulted in a disaster. And now the Patriots get the ball back, only needing a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie this game. The drive wouldn't actually start off great for New England. They would have 2 straight incompletions and are now facing a 3rd down and 10 situation. And while it's clearly, obviously, a situation where you would go for it on 4th down, ideally you don't even want to have to worry about a 4th down happening. And so for New England, going up against a cover 1 hole, their 2 receivers on the top half of the screen will be running those 2 routes right there, and the key route is going to be Hogan's route, which is going to go up to the top half of the screen, and as we've seen, the receivers can win their one-on-one matchups if Brady has time to get it to them, so that's really going to be the key in this play. Will Brady have enough time to get the ball to Hogan, because this is a route that's going to be deeper down the field. But the offensive line is going to hold. Brady's able to make this throw, Hogan makes the grab, and they don't have to worry about a 4th down, they get the 1st down. It was a key way to start the drive, but sometimes a drive like this needs something a little bit special, and that's what would happen on this next play.
Julian's catch. And if you've seen the video and if your opinion of it has changed at all.
Yeah, I saw the catch on those beautiful screens in that stadium, and that was a ridiculous play. I mean, just unbelievable.
The Edelman catch is what I'll call it. It's people are calling it the greatest catch in the history of the Super Bowl, and I mean, it was the most exciting thing. What was going through your head when you caught it? Did you actually say in your head, I caught this, or did you go, I don't think I caught this?
You know, after it all happened, I was kind of disappointed in my route. I'm not gonna lie. I should have stuck him a little harder.
Yeah, me too. And he actually say that. Yeah. We're all feeling that. Yeah.
And Alfred actually made a decent play on the ball. Thankfully, he didn't finish it. The ball got batted up in the air, and I kind of just dove. I mean,
was it 50? What was? Give me a percentage. Was it, how much was hand-eye coordination? How much was luck?
I would say it was probably like 70% luck.
Now a cover 2 man, as Atlanta's running a lot of man coverage here, but trying to mix up exactly what the exact coverage is. But either way, for Brady, he likes man coverage, and he's going to trust that Edelman can beat his one-on-one matchup, as that's the route he's running against Robert Alford. And if you notice, there will be a bit of separation. I mean, not a ton of separation, but there definitely is some separation. And in this game, as you've noticed, a lot of this game has been, can you take advantage of the opportunities or not taking advantage of opportunities? It's about big players making big plays, and they're going to need Robert Alford to make a big play here. Brady doesn't make a perfect throw, and Robert Alford gets his hands on it, but is not quite able to make the interception, and somehow Julian Edelman managed to make the grab. I'm sure we've all seen it a million times, but the reality is, Alford wasn't quite able to make a tremendous play, and Edelman was able to make a tremendous play, and that's why the Patriots are still in this game. After that catch, it kind of just felt like the only chance the Falcons are going to have is stopping them on a 2-point conversion, because the chances seemed very small that New England was going to get stopped 4 plays consecutively. It seemed pretty likely that the Falcons are going to have to just make one big play. And that play would happen. I mean, just look at how gassed and how tired this defensive line is on this play, for example. The Patriots are going to have their right guard have a one-on-one matchup, and their right tackle and also a tight end have a double team right there, and then they'll just send James White in the middle in between them. But watch how far back they pushed him. I mean, this is just too easy for James White. He doesn't even make contact until the ball's already in the end zone. Clearly, the Falcons were just exhausted at that point. But at the same time, it's okay. I mean, yeah, you were tired. Yeah, you've nearly blown a 28-3 lead. It's now 28-26. But the reality is, if you can just get one stop right here, it doesn't matter. Unless the Patriots get an onside kick, you win this football game. But for New England, they have a play that they love in this situation. They're going to send two receivers just to block right over there, and then they'll simply have Amendola run in between them, and it's a screen pass to try to get the completion this way. And it's going to work out too easily. I mean, a Falcon even jumped off sides, and it didn't matter. The Patriots get the conversion, and now it's a tied ball game just like that. New England went from seemingly screwing up every opportunity they had to seemingly being perfect, and there's no way you can stop them. They put their mistakes behind them. However, the game is not over. It's actually far from over.
I mean, when they got the ball back with a minute to go, like they're pretty dangerous, especially with the field goal kicker they have. I mean, all they got to do is get across the 50, and, he made that 58-yarder against San Diego. So, we knew that they had a good, they didn't need much field position to get in the field goal range. So, fortunately, we were able to get the end of the clock.
It's not overtime yet. There is still 57 seconds left in the fourth quarter. So even though Atlanta doesn't have any timeouts, you only need a field goal. So this is not a disastrous situation whatsoever. However, what would be disastrous was their attempt at a game-winning drive. And it's all going to start off with the very first play, the kickoff. The Patriots had just pinned the Falcons deep on an attempt where the Falcons felt like it was going to be an onside kick. And so they were able to take advantage of that by kicking the ball inside the 5, and they're going to try to do it again here, even though Atlanta isn't expecting an onside kick. They're going to see if they can pin the Falcons deep, and it's going to actually be a perfect kick. I mean, if you look, it's going to be caught basically right on the goal line in a tough situation where you would ideally like to just have the ball bounce into the end zone. But keep in mind, this is before they changed the rule where if the ball just bounces into the end zone on a kickoff, it then means that it's a touchback. So it would be an incredibly risky play this late in the Super Bowl to not run it out. So he's just going to say, you know what, I'm going to run it out here. So now at this point, what would really happen is that Falcons special teamer should just run out and block that New England player right over there. And then the returner can simply just follow those two players who are going to create a wedge. However, the player who's supposed to make a block here is going to completely miss his block, and that results in a disaster as they only get the ball to the 12-yard line. Again, a special teams play being key here as the Patriots are able to pin the Falcons deep at their own 12-yard line. Atlanta would gain 12 yards on their first play, so now it's going to be a situation where it's first down and 10 with 32 seconds left. So still needing 40 to 50 more yards and being in a situation where you don't have much time left and you have no timeouts left, you definitely have to work the sidelines. So like on a play like this where New England is going to play cover 2 zone and Atlanta is going to have a receiver run deep right over there and then Sinew will simply run underneath him and sort of get towards the sideline, that absolutely should be Matt Ryan's first read. However, instead his first read is going to go to Austin Hooper right over there in the middle of the field. If you look, Sinew on the top half of the screen is wide open. I mean, Ryan can hit Sinew, and Sinew could potentially turn up field, at least get to the 32-35 or so, but potentially just make one man miss and run all the way for a game-winning touchdown. I mean, that is a chance of happening, but even if it doesn't, you can get to the 30-35 with taking almost no time off the clock and giving yourself a first down. Meanwhile, Hooper is open to potentially get 4 yards, and so instead, Ryan is going to throw it to Hooper for some reason, who picks up the 4 yards, but now they have to hurry to the line and spike it, and now the drive is almost over. You have 18 seconds left, and it's a 3rd down and 6, and you're at your own 27-yard line, so it's just not a good situation. They are going to try something here. Those are the routes they're going to run, and really, those 2 routes are the ones that could be the key routes. You know, there's guys cutting towards the sideline, so that's something you could look to throw to. And again, the 2 guys here on either side of the field is Julio Jones on the bottom half of the screen, and then Austin Hooper on the top half of the screen. So, given those options, the choice is pretty clear. You want to go after Julio. And also, after this ball is snapped, it's going to become even more clear. I mean, if you look at Hooper, there's clearly a New England player who's in charge of covering him, who is definitely making sure he doesn't get beat deep. I mean, there's almost 5 yards of separation where the Patriot player is playing further deep than Hooper. And of course, there is a safety deep in that area who could potentially cover Hooper if he does try to just beat him deep anyways, but that's why that's a bad situation. Meanwhile, for Jones, I mean, if you look at him, he's pretty much adjacent with his assigned man right here. I mean, yes, there is a safety who's deep, but honestly, who do you trust in this situation more? Julio Jones in a favorable matchup, or Austin Hooper in a not-so-favorable matchup? However, I think Ryan had just already made his mind up because he throws it to Hooper anyways. It nearly gets intercepted, but it does get incomplete, and now the drive is over. I mean, just some bad decisions by the Falcons as a whole. It's hard to really know whether it was the coaching staff's fault or whether it was Ryan's fault, but either way, it's a catastrophe of a final drive, and now New England is going to actually win the coin toss and get the ball to start overtime. And at this point, I think everyone has a pretty good feeling of what's going to happen next. At this point, Atlanta is trying whatever they can to just have one play go their way. I think at this point they realize that they're not in a great situation, so just play a lot of man coverage, have a lot of guys drop back into coverage, and just hope Brady misses a throw. That's kind of their plan, and in fairness, it worked out okay in the first half. I mean, the Patriots were beating themselves, so try to just prolong this drive as much as possible and force New England to make a mistake. What they're going to do is it's going to be a cover 2 man, but with an extra man dropping back into coverage as well. So just a 3-man rush right here. However, for New England, they're going to have Amendola run that route right there, which is a pretty good route against this type of coverage. As you see, it will be a 1-on-1 matchup, and there is a cut in it, so that's a route that Brady likes. It's also Amendola against Bryant Poole, which it's just a matchup that Brady feels comfortable with. And while Poole actually has some pretty tight coverage on this one, Brady's throw is just absolutely on the money, and they're able to get a first down. So again, Atlanta needs a play. They weren't able to get the play on that one, but this time they would have an opportunity. It's going to be a cover 1 hole, and that's Edelman's route, which is not the best at first against a cover 1 hole, but it will get better once the play goes on, because once Edelman gets past the middle of the field, then he could get open. But what's interesting here is that Dion Jones, the guy who's in charge of covering the middle of the field, he's going to keep an extra eye on Edelman. Watch how right when this ball is snapped, he's looking at Edelman and he's basically double teaming Edelman here. He's not going to follow Edelman the whole way, he is at a certain point going to cut back. But what's really interesting here is look at exactly when he turns his head to Brady. It's going to be exactly before Edelman starts cutting to the top half of the screen. If he waited just a split second later, or if Edelman cut just a split second earlier, this would have allowed him to realize that that's where the route is going, and potentially continue running up to the top half of the screen and getting an interception, or at the very least forcing Brady to have to look somewhere else to make this throw. But because he turned his head at the exact moment, he has no idea where Edelman is running. Brady is able to then make a throw just past him, Edelman makes the catch, and now they're in business. I mean, everyone talks about football being a game of inches, but in this situation, it was a game of milliseconds. I mean, if Dion Jones literally in a split second just kept his head going a little bit further, there's no way Brady can make that throw. But I actually think that Brady wouldn't have had time to adjust. He would have still made that throw, and I think Dion Jones probably makes that interception. I know that's a lot of assumptions, but I don't think it's that unfair to assume that Dion Jones, who is a great coverage linebacker, could have made the interception, and I don't think it's that unfair to assume that Brady would have still made that throw, as we saw with the Alfred interception. I mean, he did have a tendency this game to make the throw that he feels is the best throw, even if it's not necessarily a great situation right after the ball is snapped. I mean, even that throw was not to a wide open receiver, but it worked out, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Inside the red zone, they would get a cover 1 hole, and that's going to be the matchup that he likes the best. Martellus Bennett running that route right there. He's going up against linebacker Devondre Campbell, and it's just a matchup that Brady likes, and so he's going to throw it in that direction. Campbell does actually break this pass up, but he does so illegally. It's a penalty, and this now means that's going to be first down and goal at the 1-yard line. All the Patriots need is 1 yard to be Super Bowl champions. However, this would not be the last opportunity Atlanta would have. The whole story of this game has been take advantage of your opportunities, and the Falcons would get one last opportunity. While it seems logical to just run the ball here, New England's going to get a little bit fancy here, and maybe a little bit too cute actually, because they're going to run play action, and then they're going to have Bennett run that route right there. Perhaps they just don't feel confident that they can win. Perhaps they just feel with the stacked box, they just don't feel confident that the running play would work here, so that's probably what it came down to, but Atlanta's going to get an opportunity here. If you notice, Vic Beasley's going to actually be the guy who drops back to cover Bennett, so clearly this is a matchup that you like if you're in New England. I mean, a defensive end going up against Bennett, who has had a pretty good game and is a good receiving tight end, so Brady's going to take this shot here, even though, it could work out poorly, but he feels like it can work. However, Beasley's going to play this one almost perfectly. He turns his head around, gets a hand on the ball, but just isn't quite able to get the interception. It would be insane to blame Beasley for this. I mean, this is so far out of his element, and I mean, it's such a tough play anyways, but If he was just able to get that other hand up and make a play, he could have potentially made an all-time great play, and given the Falcons the ball back, they would have had a touchback, and all they would have needed was a field goal to win the game. New England wasn't going to do anything risky again, but they also knew they couldn't just run up the middle. So for this play, they're going to do something different. They're going to pitch it to White, and then they're also going to have their receiver Mitchell on the bottom half of the screen just run out to block that Atlanta player right over there. They are going to get a little bit creative with this, however, as Julian Edelman is going to run over to block the edge rusher on that side of the screen, and hopefully he will also get the player who's in charge of covering Edelman to also move up to the top half of the screen, because then they can send their right tackle over there, and he would be able to block whichever Falcon gets into the way. Now, there are two Atlanta players who are going to be unblocked right here, so it's basically just going to be a foot race. Can they outrun James White and not let him get into the end zone? If they do, then they will only need to stop the Patriots one more time to create a fourth down situation, which would definitely be a decision time for the Patriots. Do you go for it or do you not? But first things first, they have to stop New England here. Well, typically you would think a halfback in a foot race is going to beat most linebackers. The problem is, Dion Jones is not most linebackers. Watch how quickly he gets over to the bottom half of the screen. He's got the edge right here, so James White, he can't try to get around the edge because then Dion Jones will just tackle him. He's going to have to just put his shoulder down and try to run through right here. Meaning that for the Falcons, there's one guy who has to make this play, and that's defensive back Ricardo Allen. He has a straight shot to White, and he has to make this tackle right here, because if he gives up a touchdown, the game is over. This is just one man on one man. Sometimes in football, that's all it comes down to. With all of the craziness and all the back and forth plays, sometimes you just gotta make a tackle. And just like all game, the Atlanta Falcons just let it slip through their fingers. White gets into the end zone, and it caps off the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history by far. It was an unbelievable game, and it was actually kind of a sloppy game in a lot of ways. I mean, a lot of guys made a lot of mistakes, but at the end of the day, it really came down to the Patriots just executing properly late in the game.
Football is a game of energy and emotion and attitude, and this team showed that all those things, are positive. Even last time we lost was against Seattle at home, and we had 4 shots from the 1-yard line and couldn't get in. And we talked last night about, or the day before the game about, even after that game, we came into work the next day, ready to go. And there was no whining and complaining. It was like, all right, how are we going to get better? And if we're in that situation again, how are we going to get the ball in? And, we were on the 1-yard line last night for the whole season at stake and got the ball in.
You could look at Atlanta and say they made some mistakes, and they absolutely did make their mistakes, but you have to give credit to Tom Brady and to the entire Patriots team as a whole. It was really a team comeback more than anything. Brady would end up winning Super Bowl MVP, but there was honestly like 5 or 6 guys you could have given it to, so you do have to give just a ton of credit to that entire Patriots team. I find this comeback especially fascinating because it wasn't really about making too many adjustments. It was just about executing more properly. I mean, it's not like the Patriots all of a sudden started doing something different and that different thing started working. I mean, they pretty much just played their whole game the entire game through. The only reason they really got down by so much was because they kept making mistakes and because Atlanta kept making great plays. But once the great plays washed up and once the mistakes washed up, there was just no answer for that Patriots offense. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this very long video. It definitely took me quite some time to make it. Let me know if you guys like these kind of videos and if you want to see some more. I mean, I had fun making it, and I'm kind of just looking for something to do on Saturdays, because the reality is, if I upload a video on Saturday, it gets like no views, because once Sunday comes around, nobody cares about it anymore. So I'm kind of just trying to figure out what to do on Saturdays, basically. So I thought maybe this would be a good idea. So let me know if you guys like it, and let me know if there's other games you would like to see me do. I mean, I'm more than willing to make these types of videos if this is what you guys like to watch. I think it's kind of cool to actually break down an entire game and really talk, step by step through what happened. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. Especially a game like this where it's, such a unique comeback and such a unique way that they did come back, where it wasn't really so much about adjustments as it was about them. I mean, maybe a little small adjustments here and there, but it was more about a change of execution, which I just found very fascinating. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching.